I'm Mohan Gautam, your English teacher, permanently from Massachusetts Rural Municipality 6, Tital, Kaski, Nepal. Right? Currently, I'm from Magdi district, the western part of Nepal. First of all, thanks for clicking and welcome to the lesson on Unit 3, the ant and the grasshopper, second part of this lesson. Right? Okay, my dear student. Uh, Very first, I request you to see or to read out the line given here in the first paragraph. Okay, look at here. Okay, the ant and the grasshopper. Look at here. Already you have learned. Okay, the nature of the ant and the nature of the grasshopper. Right. Okay, ant is very hardworking creature, whereas grasshopper is a very lazy creature. Right, so they have opposite type of the behavior. Right, so here two character, okay, George Ramsay and Tom Ramsay, who are the opposite type of the characters. Okay, George Ramsay is a kind-hearted person. Okay, whereas Tom Ramsay is cunning, okay, person, right? So that, okay, we can compare. Okay, we can compare and contrast in terms of their behavior from this story, right? Okay, my dear student. Okay, hopefully you have read some line in the first paragraph as I told you before, right? Look at here. I could not help thinking of this fable when the other day I saw George Ramsay launching by himself in a restaurant, right? Here, narrator is, okay, I. Okay, I is a narrator here, first person narration. Okay, so narrator had shown Mr. George Ramsay is having lunch in a restaurant, right? And here narrator says that he never saw anyone wear an expression of such a deep gloom. Okay, so at the time narrator, okay, is looking at Mr. George Ramsay. At the time he was found, okay, George Ramsay was found having very sad. Okay, he was staring into space. Okay, steering, what do you mean by steering? Now you must know its meaning. Steering means, okay, look at here. Yeah, looking continuously. Okay, looking continuously. Okay, Mr. Okay, George Ramsay was looking continuously into his space. He looked as though the burden of the whole world sat on his shoulders, right, at the time. Okay, so he was feeling very sad. Okay, as if he was carrying the entire world on his, okay, shoulder. Got it? I was sorry for him. Okay, narrator was sorry for him. I suspected. Okay, here narrator suspected. Okay, guessed at once that his unfortunate brother had been causing trouble again. Okay, the unfortunate brother Tom Ramsay might have given trouble to Mr. George Ramsay. Okay, I went up to him and held out my hand. Okay, narrator went up to Mr. George Ramsay and just asked some question, or both of them were making conversation. Well, now their conversation goes like this. Look at here. Uh, okay, very first narrator asks question here. How are you? Okay, narrator asks question to Mr. George Ramsay. Okay, then the reply is like this here. I'm not in hilarious spirit, he answered. Okay. Okay, now here hilarious spirit. Look at this, okay, word. Okay, it might be unfamiliar for you. So you can guess the meaning of this word. I'm not in hilarious spirit. Okay, if somebody is very sad mood and if somebody asks questions, okay, about the health condition, then obviously you don't say I'm fine, okay, and you say what? Okay, I'm not in hilarious spirit means, okay, I'm not fine, okay, I'm not happy, I'm not in a funny mood. Got it? Okay, you have to say like this answer. So here even you can see the meaning here on the screen. Yeah, hilarious refers to, or its meaning is very funny. Okay, I'm not very, okay, funny, I'm not very happy, it means, okay, he answered, okay, here Mr. George Ramsay answered by telling this, okay, he was not very happy, it means he was very, very sad, right, in that condition. And again, narrator asks a question to Mr. George Ramsay. Okay, question is like this here on the screen. Is it Tom again? Okay, is it Tom again? He sighed. Okay, so here it means what? Still, okay, this time as well, the Tom is giving you trouble. It is due to the, okay, let's say the difficulties given by your brother Tom. Okay, narrator asked this question to George Ramsay, and the reply is like this here on the screen. You can see, yes, it's Tom again, right? Yes, it's Tom again. This time also, Tom is giving trouble to Mr. George Ramsay, right? So here, Mr. George Ramsay says, yes, it's Tom again, right? Okay, my dear student, hopefully you have understood up to here, right? Now let's go further in the next slide. Okay, look at here. Okay, look at here the questions. Okay, why don't you talk him? Okay, why don't you talk him? You have done everything in the world for him. Okay, you must know by now that he is quite hopeless. Okay, narrator is, okay, giving suggestion to Mr. George Ramsay. Okay, why don't you talk him? Now the word comes here, talk. Okay, it might be unfamiliar for you. Okay, so try to guess the meaning. Why don't you talk him means, okay, why don't you leave him? Why don't you quit him? Okay, so why don't you ignore him, like this meaning you have to make guess, right? Well, my gesture now, even you can see its meaning here on the screen. Okay, look at here. Okay, so yeah, I haven't just given the this meaning here because I told this already. Why don't you leave him? Why don't you ignore, leave, or quit? Like this meaning, you can write even in your copy, right? See, yet UCK. Suck means will leave or ignore. IGNOR ignore or quit. QUIT quit. Okay, so you can write these three words. Okay, as a synonyms of this word suck. Why don't you leave him? Why don't you ignore him? Suggestion. You have done everything, okay? You have done everything in the world for him. You must know by now that he is quite hopeless. Now he is quite hopeless. Okay, you have to ignore him. Okay, he don't want to bring change in his life. So why every time you are just giving, okay, just effort from your side if he doesn't want to be improved? Well, now look at the next paragraph. Okay, here now, okay, narrator I is, okay, telling every detail about the background of George Ramsay and Tom Ramsay. Right here, look at here very fast. I suppose every family has a black sheep. Okay, try to understand this sentence very fast. Okay, I suppose every family has a black sheep. Okay, what do you mean by now black sheep? A black sheep. Here is not the, okay, black color of sheep. Okay, the literary meaning is here different. Okay, you have to understand by its context. Got it? Now you can also make a guess. Okay, I suppose every family has a black sheep means, okay, uh, okay, yeah, black sheep means an odd member, a bad family member. Okay, out of all the family members there can be one bad, okay, nutty one, right? So here also the same. Okay, I suppose every family has a black sheep, okay, a nutty one, a bad one, okay, character can be found in the family members, right? So here Tom Ramsay is one of the such type of character. Got it? Well, now look at here. Next sentence here. Tom had been a sore trial, right? Tom had been a sore trial to him for 20 years, right? It has been, okay, for 20 years, okay. So he has been giving trouble to George Ramsay, right? It has been how many years? It has been 20 years. Never forget, right? Now, he had begun life decently enough. Okay, we are talking about the past. Okay, narrator narrator, okay, here is talking about the past. He had begun life decently enough. Okay, it was decently means very standard life. It was very standard life in the past. Okay, he had such type of lifestyle. He went into business, right? He went into business. He just started his business, right? And married. Even he already got married and had two children, right? The Ramses were perfectly respectable people, and there was every reason to suppose that Tom Ramsay would have a useful and honorable career. Yeah? Everybody easily could guess that they might have very standard life, very respectable life. Okay, okay, and must have good career, right? Must have or should have good career, okay, according to the past, okay, background. But okay, look at here. The Ramsey were perfectly respectable here. The Ramseys were respectable people, and there was every reason to suppose that Tom Ramsey would have a useful and honorable career. But one day, without warning, he announced that he didn't like work and that he wasn't suited for marriage. Okay, immediately one day he declared that he didn't like to do any work, and even he thought that he wasn't suited for marriage. Okay, he wanted to be alone. He didn't care his wife and even children as well. Okay, he didn't want to take any responsibility at work as well. Okay, so that he wanted to enjoy himself alone. Okay, okay, and alone means just ignoring the let's say wife and children. Okay, he wanted to enjoy with such type of nutty friends, right? And here, look at here, next line here. He wanted to enjoy himself. He would listen to no expostulation. No expostulation. Now you might feel difficult this word. Expostulation means what? You can hear on the screen. Reason. Okay, he wouldn't listen, no any reason, no any other, okay, just counseling. He left his wife and his office. Okay, he left both his wife, his children, and even his office. He left. Did various capital of Europe, right? Okay, so here we will study how it was possible to visit various capitals of Europe in spite of having very little money. Got it? Well, now let's go further. In the next slide, look at here. Look at here. This is the longest paragraph. Okay, here, try to understand this one. Rumors of his doing, okay, rumors of his doing reached his relation from time to time, and they were profoundly shocked. Okay, here rumors of, okay, of his doing, his bad activities, okay, spread. Okay, even okay in his community, in his area. Okay, especially here, they refers to George Ramsay and his relative. Okay, even his friends. Okay, they all, okay, they just they all, okay, just listen, they just all came to know about his, okay, bad activities. Okay, or visiting in different parts of Europe. Okay, especially the capital city, right? And here they were profoundly shocked, all the relatives or family members. Okay, they were shocked. Okay, they became very shocked. He certainly had a very good time, right? He certainly had a very good time. Actually, Tom Ramsey would have very good time. Okay, certainly would have very good time. Okay, they shook their heads. Okay, they means Mr. George Ramsey and his other relatives. Okay, they shook their heads. They moved their heads and asked what would happen when his money was spent. Okay, he just did have very little money, and what would happen when his money was spent? They all just were thinking about him. Okay, and here they soon found out immediately. Mr. George Ramsay and other relatives, our family members also, they soon found out. They came to know that he borrowed. Okay, that he borrowed money from his friends, or even from anyone. Okay, because he has such type of art. Okay, such type of quality to okay, had money or to borrow money from other easily, right? Okay, he was charming and unscrupulous. Okay, he was charming. Charming means very attractive fish. Okay, he was charming and unscrupulous. Okay, you may feel difficult this word. Okay, look at the meaning of this one here. Unscrupulous. Okay, corrupted. He was just corrupt. Okay, corrupted nature, and I have never met anyone to whom. Okay, I have never met anyone to whom it was more difficult to refuse a loan. Okay, nobody just can refuse a loan if he asks. Okay, so he lured people. He lured other people. Okay, he can attract other people, and if he demands, then easily he gets loan from his friends and even from any other unknown people, right? He made a steady income from his friends. Okay, the income source of his was from his friends, and he made friends easily. Okay, he has such art or the quality. Okay, the speaker, he easily makes friend, and then from his friend, he easily get money. But but he always said that the money you spend on necessity was boring. Every time he says that if you spend your money for your necessity, it was very very boring, right? So the money that was amusing to spend was the money you spend on luxuries, right? It means if you spend money for luxuries for your relaxation, then that will be very interesting for him. Okay, so he was an extravagant. Okay, for this he depended on his brother George. Okay, mainly he just depended on his brother George. He didn't waste his charm on him. It means every time Tom Ramsey just enjoys the life. Okay, enjoys the life without doing hard work, right? Without doing any hard work. Now look at here, next line here. George was a serious man. Okay, on the contrary of Tom Ramsey, here George Ramsey was a serious man and insensible to such enticement. Okay, so enticement means what? Okay, it means, okay, look at here on the screen. Okay, attraction. Okay, he doesn't want to enjoy the life without doing any work. Okay, so that here is given uh, insensible to such enticement. He ignores such type of attraction. Okay, George was respectable. Every time George was respectable. Once or twice he failed to failed to Tom's promises of amendment. Okay, and gave him considerable sum in order that he might make a fresh start. Okay, so please try to understand this one. Once or twice. Okay, one time or two times. Okay, let's say George Ramsey fell to Tom's promises. Tom's makes promises, okay, to be improved, to bring change in his life. Okay, here amendment means what? Improvement, to bring improvement in his life, and gave him considerable sums means enough amount of money. Gave him in order that he might make a fresh start. Actually, George Ramsey want to bring change in his brother Tom Ramsey, so he spent money, okay, hoping to bring change in his brother Tom Ramsey. Got it? Okay, and look at here, next line. On these Tom bought a motor car. Okay, instead of changing his behavior, he bought a motor car and some very nice jewelry, right? So he doesn't want to change his life. Okay, instead of that, he just bought or purchased a motor car and some very nice jewelry. Okay, with the money given by his brother George Ramsey, right? Well, now look at here next. But when circumstances force George to realize such condition. Circumstances is what? This is condition. Force George to realize that his brother would never settle down, and he washed his hand of him. Okay, Tom without a qualm. Okay, without a qualm, began to blackmail him. What does it mean? Actually, here George Ramsay became quite hopeless. Okay, he thought that okay he couldn't bring change in his brother, right? So that he washed his hand off from this type of let's say effort. Tom without qualm. Okay, now here qualm. Tom without qualm. Qualm means what? Look at here. It means doubt. Tom without doubt. What happened here? Began to blackmail him, blackmail to his brother, very serious brother, respectable brother. It was not very nice for a respectable lawyer to find his brother seeking cocktails behind the bar of his favorite restaurant, or to see him waiting on the box seat of a taxi outside the club, right? So George Ramsey was a respectable lawyer. In front of him, okay, so his brother was found just seeking, let's say, cocktails behind the bar. Okay, in his favorite restaurant. Okay, it was not good for him. Tom said that to serve in a bar or to drive a taxi was perfectly designed occupation. Okay, perfectly very standard occupation. Okay, but if George could oblige him with a couple of £100, he didn't mind for the honor of the family giving it up. George paid. Okay, now my dear student, okay, pay ample attention towards me and just making you understand what does these lines sentences tell us. Okay, Tom, according to Tom, okay, the design occupation, the standard occupation are okay to serve in a bar or to drive a taxi. Okay, so these are the excellent job, a standard job for him, for Mr. Tom. Okay, Tom Ramsey. But if George could oblige him with a couple of £100, he didn't mind for the honor for the family giving it up. Okay, so here, if okay, so you must know the meaning of this oblige very fast. Okay, look at here. Oblige means force. If George, okay, it could oblige him with a couple of £100. Okay, actually, for the honor of the family, for the prestige of the family. Okay, let's say, okay, Mr. George Ramsay easily paid for the betterment, for the prestige of the family, right? And George paid, given here, okay, many more times George paid money for the for saving of the prestige of Ramsay family, right? Okay, that's all for today. Rest of the lesson will be done tomorrow. Hoping to see you soon in next video. Have a wonderful time ahead. Goodbye.